Now at 9, the Diamond, Missouri School District is asking voters to approve a $6 million school bond. Plus, students at Northeast Oklahoma A&M College are dealing with flooding in the dorms.
A day after being indicted by a grand jury, former President Donald Trump is on the attack. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Cale Chapman. Authorities have filed formal charges against a suspect in Sunday's robbery of a Walmart in Coffeyville, Kansas. They've charged 63-year-old LaBern Timmerman of Tyro, Kansas with aggravated robbery and armed with a dangerous weapon. Police say he pulled out a gun, robbed the store clerk, and left with an undisclosed amount of cash. Authorities say he was arrested without incident. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, a wild weather day for us today. One, it was warm. It was a little breezy out there, winds gusting upwards of 60. We made it to 80. We started at 60 during the morning hours, and look at the winds. They've been so strong. They're slowly going to start to calm down. We have sustained winds, kind of 10 to 20, but we're still getting some pretty good gusts out there, kind of 30, upwards of 40 miles per hour, and these are going to slowly calm as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. All right, all thunderstorms we had earlier today, those are gone, but still ongoing severe weather outbreak from Illinois, stretching south, Tennessee through Memphis, all the way down through parts of Arkansas, and of course, Little Rock took a huge hit at about 2:30 this afternoon, caused quite a bit of damage. I know Cale's going to have more on that next.
That's right, Doug. So there's lots of reports of tornado damage in the Little Rock area. The Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services are estimating at least 600 injuries so far. The CBS affiliate there, THV11, says Little Rock police are transporting people to hospitals because there aren't enough ambulances to respond. The station says more than 74,000 houses in the central Arkansas area have lost power. The Little Rock mayor is asking the Arkansas governor for National Guard assistance. Look for more on this developing story later on. And Missouri Governor Mark Parson today activated the Missouri State Emergency Operations Plan and Missouri National Guard. It's in response to severe weather. Parts of Missouri are currently experiencing severe weather, and more is forecast through the evening. The governor's declaration will expire on April 30th. The high winds today knocked down a tree in the 300 block of North Pearl in Joplin's North Heights neighborhood. A resident tells KOAM she heard a large crash when she was in the kitchen. Luckily, no one was injured, and the only damage was to a corner of the roof. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly issued a disaster emergency today as well due to the potential for wildfires and severe storms. This declaration allows the state to pre-position assets for a quicker response to any fires that may begin. Much of the state is in a red flag warning and high wind advisory, and we have scattered power outage in the area, apparently due to the high winds. Southeast Kansas, some areas are experiencing the aftermath of high winds. In Pittsburgh, here are some downed power lines on 2nd and Locust Street. Now, some students who live in Harrell and Dobson Halls in northeastern Oklahoma A&M College in Miami, Oklahoma, have seen water leaking into their dorm rooms. KOM's Carrie Worthen has more on this story.
It's happened every year, and I don't see any changes.
NEO student Kayla Paulo moved into the dorms 3 years ago. Paula says there was water leaking in her room.
It started right after spring break. It rained here, and probably about a couple hours after that, it started leaking down the column of my room, right where they would have the mirror, and it leaked out the bottom. So I had to move everything off my desk.
Vice President of Student Affairs, Amy Ishmael, says there are a couple reasons for the leaking. They are in process of making improvements to the dorms.
One is the hailstorm that happened that brought very large size hail on March the 2nd. We had some damage to some roofs at that time. We've also had contractors on campus. We're replacing our air handling system as part of our improvements to the dorms. And in that, we've had some leakage, we believe, from that.
I would say they would fix the problem, but they don't fix the mold that comes from that. They don't really go there and clean everything up from that. They just kind of fix the leak.
Ishmael says the age of the buildings is a factor.
I believe they were built in the 1960s, and upkeep is difficult on old buildings. You've got a lot of different things that can go wrong, from pipes that are, not the best new material, to just materials on the roof that have worn out and different things like that. So, we're looking at everything and trying to make the best that we can.
INEO officials say work is underway to renovate the residence halls. Students are ready to see the problems fixed.
You're stressed out that it might happen while you're gone. It might ruin all the stuff in your room, might ruin anything on the floor, anything you have on your desk, and just having that security that it's not going to happen, it's a huge stress relief.
In Miami, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
INEO officials say they've moved students from the rooms with leaks to different rooms without that problem. Some folks set out to Fort Scott for the annual Home, Sport, Farm, and Garden Show. It's a two-day event where many area businesses come and showcase their goods so everyone can see what they have to offer. There were also several prize drawings for items given out by the businesses. The event also had activities for kids to get in on the fun.
We've got everything from deer hunting and turkey hunting equipment to Mary Kay Cosmetics to plumbing to furniture and flooring. We just have it all, and people have a good time.
The event will kick off again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and run until 3 p.m. Reactions are pouring in a day after a New York grand jury voted to indict former President Trump. The former president is criticizing the case against him, calling it a political witch hunt. Republicans on Capitol Hill are coming to his defense. Democrats, meanwhile, are urging caution as they wait to see what the specific charges are. Fox News correspondent Carolyn Shively has the latest from Washington.
Security preparations are underway in New York City as former President Donald Trump prepares to turn himself into authorities next Tuesday.
He was shocked, because I was shocked.
Former President Trump's attorney describing the reaction to his client's indictment by a New York grand jury. Exact charges against Trump are under seal, but the investigation by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg centered on a hush money payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the run-up to the 2016 presidential election.
I don't think that what Trump did here, no matter what you think of it, actually constitutes a violation of the campaign finance laws.
The announcement Thursday drew strong reaction from Republicans on Capitol Hill, with many calling it a political prosecution. Top GOP lawmakers are calling for Bragg to turn over documents related to his investigation.
We use the term weaponization because there is no other way to describe what is happening here. They have weaponized our system of justice.
Bragg called their inquiry illegitimate. Many Democrats are voicing their support for the indictment, but also want to wait and see what the specific charges are.
There's no single person in America above the law. So this process should go forward without any political pressure one way or the other, and certainly without any violence.
The Biden administration is not commenting on Mr. Trump's indictment. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, new COVID vaccine recommendations.
Healthy children are not a priority for the COVID vaccine. That's the message from the World Health Organization. I'm Lucas Tomlinson in Washington. I'll have the details coming up.
The World Health Organization and the CDC are at odds over who exactly should be getting booster shots and COVID-19 boosters at this point in the pandemic. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more from Washington.
COVID vaccines are still a requirement in many school districts across the country, but new guidelines could change that. The World Health Organization updating its COVID vaccine recommendations, saying healthy kids and teenagers without pre-existing conditions are not a priority for the COVID vaccine. The revisions reflect a new focus on prioritizing vaccines for those at highest risk as the outbreak moves from the pandemic to the endemic stage.
We need to do a reset right now and learn how to live with this virus for probably to the end of time. It's going to be with us.
The WHO also pointing to higher immunity levels around the world due to vaccines and prior infection. Two metrics the White House cited recently as it moves forward with a plan to end the COVID national emergency next month.
We are in a different place and time than we were in January. We've been winding down authorities over the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 months.
But the CDC is standing firm on its own guidelines, recommending everyone aged 6 months and older stay up to date with vaccines and boosters. CDC officials tell Fox News the new WHO guidelines are meant to provide flexibility to individual countries. And some of those countries, including India and China, are still dealing with high rates of infection.
People should follow COVID appropriate behavior, and if they have not got themselves vaccinated, get themselves vaccinated.
The CDC also claims its independent analysis of children receiving the COVID vaccine found that the benefits still outweigh the risks. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
A new study suggests school-aged children worldwide lost out on more than a third of the year's worth of learning when COVID-19 caused schools to close. Researchers looked at data from 42 studies on learning progress during the pandemic in 15 different countries. Most of the studies were done from high and middle income countries and a few from low income ones. They found that learning deficits due to school closures were, quote, particularly pronounced for children from low socioeconomic backgrounds. The Centers for Disease Control is warning travelers about a rare, deadly viral disease that's related to Ebola. The Marburg virus has been detected in 2 different African countries on opposite sides of the continent, indicating that it is spreading. The CDC is advising travelers from Equatorial New Guinea and Tanzania to watch for symptoms for 21 days. That includes fever, rashes, sore throat, and unexplained bleeding. The CDC is now sending teams to Africa to help stop the Marburg outbreaks. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Pitt State hosts a coaching clinic featuring a Division I head football coach.
Well, of course, crazy weather day for us today. In fact, we had thunderstorms last night, a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, thunderstorms again today, a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, and very windy, very powerful winds. And we had, straight line winds that were gusting to 60, which is just as strong as a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's why we've had some power outages, lots of trees down, a lot of roof damage across the region. The winds are finally starting to calm down a little bit and will continue to do so as we go through the overnight hours tonight. All right, so we had a dry line that pushed through thunderstorms this morning and then explode during the afternoon, becomes a massive severe weather outbreak as it pushed off toward the east. Then we had the winds all afternoon, but now the cold front is going to roll in. Look at this huge system. You got snow rotating around the area of low pressure, and then you got all this severe weather out here. Chicago now all the way down through parts of Kentucky. So this thing has been racing off toward the east, but still several tornado warnings. But you can see this storm system wrapping up, heading out of here, and we will start to see improvements as we go into the weekend. It's still windy. I mean, it's better, but it's still windy. Sustained winds kind of 10 to 15, but the gusts of 50 to 55. These have calmed down. Now you can see our gusts are kind of 30 to about 35, which we can handle. They may tick up a little bit once that front moves through later on tonight, the cold front. So we could still get gusts pushing 40, and then they're going to really calm down as we go through tomorrow. But that cold front's right here. You can see that wind shift line, the colder air behind it. So it's going to be cooler as we go into the week. It's going to be a nice day tomorrow. It's just going to be a little bit chilly. 61 Nevada, 65 Neosho, 63 Oswego, Miami 65. Temperatures still are pretty good. Let's step through your weekend. Pretty much clear skies tonight now. Eventually upper 30s to near 40 for an overnight low. Tomorrow looks pretty good. We get near 50 by noon, plenty of sunshine. Most of us upper 50s to near 60, which is a pretty good day. Tomorrow night, winds switching out of the south. We drop back near 40. We get some clouds. Most of Sunday pretty good. It's going to be warmer. We're going to go in the upper 60s to near 70, but watch this. So here's 2:30. As we get into the afternoon, some showers and thunderstorms will skirt the southern half of the region. So we're going to have to watch out for that. They move right on by, and then we stay fairly warm as we go into Monday morning. But I do want to watch a system early next week, but most of the weekend looks pretty good. So 58 tomorrow, 70 on Sunday, those showers late, and then we will watch a storm system next Tuesday. And we're going to be talking more about that in the second half hour. 58 tomorrow, 70 on Sunday, 79 Monday, right back to 80 on Tuesday. Pretty good chances for thunderstorms, cool down a bit late next week.
Yeah, I'm okay with this getting hotter. I'm scared of next Wednesday and Thursday when it drops out to 50 degrees again. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I know, but 70s and 80s are pretty nice.
I'm breaking out the shorts, the Hawaiian shirts. I'm ready for it.
You have one on today?
Yeah, I walked in the office with it. All righty, well, thank you, Doug.
Yep.
All right, well, coming up, we'll take a look at a new report that states some of the jobs you see online may not be real. Egg prices have some changing their Easter plans, opting out of dyeing real eggs and planning to use the plastic ones instead. Maggie DeRosiers reports.
Egg prices are still higher than most customers would like. Some tell me, despite high prices, they pay what they have to for the food they need.
It's a little fluctuated, you know. I mean, one moment it's decent, but not as what it was a few years ago. But right now, I mean, can't beat it. I mean, we need them, so we got to do what we got to do.
According to data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, New York egg prices are down overall, but are up 4 cents this week from last. A dozen large eggs will cost you about $3.25. Customers aren't feeling relieved.
It's just expensive. Like, everything's like too much. Way too much. I don't understand why egg prices are so high, though.
U.S. Bureau of Labor data shows prices peaked in January at $4.82. Now some families are rethinking their Easter holiday plans.
Definitely refraining from doing any egg coloring. It's really pricey.
And finding other ways to celebrate without wasting money or food.
Maybe like the little plastic Easter egg hunts. I think those would be more efficient.
Eggs are ridiculous, especially for the holidays. We're not even going to buy any actual eggs. We'll buy the plastic eggs and we'll have fun with that. We can't waste food this year.
Neighbors hope that prices will return to pre-pandemic levels, but say they don't think that will happen anytime soon. I'm Maggie DeRosiers reporting.
Inflation cooled a little bit last month as measured by the PCE price index. From January to February, there was a 0.3% increase for the overall reading and the core index, which excludes food and energy. For the year ending in February, the core PCE increased 4.6%. It's a sign that inflation moderated, though it's still high. Also, personal incomes rose 0.3% and spending rose 0.2%, which is a small increase. Americans are not only working harder during inflation, they're also working extra jobs. According to a new LendingTree survey, roughly half of Americans say they have a side hustle to keep up with the rising costs. About 33% of respondents say they have a second job. About 16% say they found another way to earn extra cash. That includes selling online, commissions, or even gambling. The survey adds Gen Z are the most likely to report that they are using side gigs for income. If you're unemployed and considering a company's posted openings, you may want to confirm it's actually available. A report says that despite openings being at 10.8 million as of January, some of those might be fake. One search company CEO says many companies advertise for jobs they don't intend to fill because they want a strong pool of candidates. Some companies may list 10 jobs but only fill 2 positions. Businesses may also be listing openings to motivate the current employees they have. Up next, a happy ending for a paralyzed dog left abandoned on railroad tracks in Philadelphia. An abandoned dog gets a second shot at life. Meet Lucky. This dog was found partially paralyzed, stuck on train tracks in Philadelphia. It's estimated that Lucky was left there for about 2 days. The nonprofit organization Philly Rescue Angels found the pup and took him in back in December. Lucky underwent surgery and rehab for his injuries. He's now relying on a snazzy set of wheels to get around, but these wheels aren't stopping him. Lucky has a new leash on life after finding his forever home with one of his rescuers. We've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Missouri Southern celebrates the grand reopening of the Taylor Performing Arts Center. Plus, the Diamond, Missouri School District is asking voters to approve a $6 million school bond. The Taylor Performing Arts Center at Missouri Southern State University is ready for its grand reopening to the public. KOAM's Yana Adela took a look inside and discussed the renovations with faculty and students.
Students and faculty here at Missouri Southern State University are excited about the great reopening of this Taylor Performing Arts Center.
This was one of the original facilities on campus. It was constructed in 1972, and it has been for the past 50 years the largest performance venue in Southwest Missouri.
Renovations for the Taylor Performing Arts Center were needed due to safety issues with the walls. Now, visitors will see wider seats, new carpet, and wall coverings.
Renovating it, bringing it up to modern standards, and comfort was very important for us, not only for the university and its academic programs, but for the local community.
Students are excited to perform on the stage.
I came here in 2018, and that's when the theater unfortunately got shut down because it was a little unsafe. So it's really exciting after 5 years to actually be able to be in here and work in here, so it's really cool.
Senior Taylor has performed in the Black Box Theater for a while. She is excited to finally use the renovated space on her last semester.
The space, the amount of lights and everything we can do with this space is just so much greater. We have so many more opportunities now for the future students that come here, and that's just very exciting to me.
The university received about $600,000 in private donations to fund the renovations. The remaining $2.5 million came from the state of Missouri. In Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
The reopening event will include performances by the music department starting at 7:30 tomorrow evening. Everyone is welcome to attend. On Tuesday, voters in Diamond, Missouri will vote on a $6 million school bond issue. If passed, the bond will pay for building a new early childhood center at the elementary school. The Diamond School Superintendent says the new early childhood center will allow the district to better handle the growing number of children in the district.
With our increased enrollment and almost 100 kids growth in the last 3 years, we're really finding the need for extra classrooms and more appropriate classroom size classes for our youngest kids. And so this is a big emphasis in the state of Missouri right now.
If passed, the district's debt service property tax is estimated to remain unchanged. Students in McDonald County schools today competed in different STEM-related activities. It's part of the school's STEMapalooza. Kindergarten through 8th grade students commented in events including computer coding, robots, and cardboard roller coaster engineering. High school students judge the events. Officials say it encourages critical thinking, problem solving, and teamwork.
So you got to learn how their partners react to things. So whenever you're working with them, you got to make sure they approve it, because you can't just go on and do something they don't want to do. And it was an enjoyment to work with my friends.
The district hopes this event will inspire students to pursue a career in STEM. The House will be voting Friday on a GOP education bill that aims to increase parental rights in the classroom. The Parents' Bill of Rights Act would require schools to provide parents with a list of books and reading materials available in the school library. It would also mandate the curriculum be publicly posted and require administrators to alert parents of violent activity on school grounds. The issue of parental rights has become a key priority for Republicans ahead of the 2024 election. The first funeral following Monday's horrific shootings at Nashville Christian School was held today. 6 people were killed by a 28-year-old former student. Authorities are still not releasing the contents of the shooter's manifesto, but they have given us some of the 911 recordings from the massacre. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has the latest.
I think we have a shooter at our church.
The 911 calls released by Nashville authorities come from teachers inside the building and neighbors who live near the Covenant School. They give snapshots from different angles of a tragedy hard to imagine. One caller reports what she is hearing.
Okay, and approximately how many shots have you heard?
A lot of shots.
If you had to guess, 20, 50, 100?
I don't know. I heard about 10 and I left the building.
Another had a partial vision of what was happening. He saw the shooter enter the building.
Did you see the shooter?
Yes, it seems to be a description.
All I saw was a man holding an assault rifle shooting through the door. Okay, he's currently in the second grade hallway. Second grade stairs. Okay, so, a white man. White man. Camouflage, he had a vest on and a assault rifle.
The most disturbing calls are the hushed voices from those in hiding during the shooting that goes on for 14 minutes. One call is from a teacher who hid with her students in an art closet as shots were fired outside her classroom. Some of the children are heard in the background asking to go home. The 28-year-old shooter who was killed by police was a former Covenant School student who authorities say planned a calculated attack with detailed maps and notebooks. The FBI and state officials are reviewing those documents. The shooter, who authorities identified as transgender, used 2 rifles and a handgun to kill 6 people, 3 of them 9-year-old children. The funeral for the first of the 3 children killed was this afternoon.
The family of Evelyn Decas asked mourners to wear pink. They said Evelyn loved color. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
A bit later, Netflix makes plans to make another expansion. We'll take a look.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a wild weather day for us today. The extreme winds gusting 50 to 60 at times. We had a few severe thunderstorms that popped up early in the afternoon hours, had some scattered thunderstorms for us during the morning hours as well. So scattered thunderstorms, severe line, all push east, become this huge severe weather outbreak as we went through the afternoon. But look at this storm system. Look at the snow rotating around the backside. So as we get through the night, we're going to have bands of snow that are going to work in, could even get some accumulations. I said that and nobody blinked an eye. Tomorrow's April Fool's. Give me some credit here, man. Nobody even blinked an eye. That's why, because nobody's listening to me. All right, no, we're not going to have snow. All the big severe weather now pushing east through the Ohio River Valley, all the way down through Memphis into northern parts of Louisiana. But still, several tornado warnings, and I think I counted like 28 tornado warnings with their system earlier. But we are going to have a few clouds kind of zipping by, but besides that, a cold front's going to roll in and we're going to cool down. It's still windy. It's a lot better than it was earlier. Winds gusting, still kind of 20 to 30 miles per hour, but we will still get some gusts that approach 40 at times later on tonight once the cold front gets through. And then watch this. Through the day, they back down. So by evening, we don't have much of a wind at all on Saturday, which is good news. But you can see that cooler air, which is starting to plunge a little bit farther south. Most of us now, upper 50s to lower 60s across the area. And as we go through time, we drop back near 40 later on tonight. Clear skies as we go through the day, near 50 by noon. I think most of us kind of in that 58 to 60 degree range. So overall, it's going to be a nice day. It will still be a little bit breezy. Winds switch out of the south. Tomorrow night, we drop back near 40. Sunday's an interesting day. It's much warmer. We get some clouds in here. So here's 230, upper 60s to near 70. But we get some scattered thunderstorms that kind of skirt the southern half of the region. So we'll have to keep our eyes on this over the next couple days. This does not look strong or severe by any means. We don't drop off too much Sunday night, and then we go into Monday on the warm side as well. So to break down your weekend, 58 tomorrow, 70 on Sunday. Those scattered showers, a few thunderstorms. Overall, not bad. We are moving into April tomorrow. I've counted up the events that I think we're going to have. I think we'll have at least 5 severe weather events, starting with this one on Tuesday. Now, it's interesting. If it slows down a little bit, this shifts a little farther west. If it speeds up a little bit, it'll be similar to today, where it's mainly just to our east. But we're going to have severe weather. We just got to see where the storm's going to pop up, and that's what I'm going to be watching over the next couple days. 58 tomorrow, 70 on Sunday, 79 on Monday, 80 on Tuesday. Cooling back down a little bit Wednesday and Thursday. Showers in by next weekend, but temperatures back into the 60s. So overall, pretty good forecast.
Yeah, you had me going there at the beginning. You got me, Doug.
You guys didn't even blink an eye. So.
All right, well, thank you. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern Baseball picks up their 7th straight win on the road against Fort Hays State. Plus, a familiar face returns to Pittsburgh to speak at Pitt State's Coaches Clinic. Jacob Leonard has that and more after the break.
The Missouri Southern Lions are on a roll right now. Southern has won 6 straight games coming into the day. They're ranked 4th in the nation, and they're tied for first place in the MIAA with a 14-3 league record. Now this afternoon, Lions open a 3-game series on the road against Fort Hays State, and they won this one big today, 13-3. Tragan Parker goes 3 for 5 with 3 home runs. Henry Kuziak 5 for 6 on the day with 2 homers and 4 RBIs. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas also in action tonight, kicking off a series on the road against Central Oklahoma. Definitely not a pitcher's duel here, but PSU wins 16-12. Nixon Brandon and Cade Clemens each go deep. Joe Hamilton 4 for 5 with a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs. Well, Well, Pittsburgh State football hosts its annual Coaches Clinic today. The clinic features coaches from across the four-state area presenting on different topics throughout the day. The keynote speaker today, a familiar face, Tulane head coach and former Gorilla Willie Fritz, spoke to the group of area coaches today. Fritz was a defensive back at PSU from 1978 to 1981 and just led Tulane to a 12-2 season and a Cotton Bowl win over USC. Now here he is on coming back today and seeing all the changes at his former home.
This is outstanding. The indoor, I've been in there many times. It's unbelievable. The stadium is, from where it was when I played here to where it is now, is much, much different. And then you talk about the weight room and the meeting rooms and the offices. But you got to have great coaching. You got to have great players still. And Coach Wright did that this year with going 11-0 in the MIAA.
I think it's important for our guys that sit in the seats, that they do currently on our team, to hear from those guys that didn't get to play in this stadium like it is today, or practice in the indoor, or sit in those exact seats of the lecture hall, and to hear from the guys that really built this place and made it what it is today.
The Fort Scott Tigers picked up their first win of the season last night, beating Paola 11-1. And with that win, Fort Scott's now 1-2 in their first 3 games of the spring. Tonight, the Tigers play at home for the first time, hosting SEK rival Field Kinley. Fort Scott up 1 in the first. Cal Cousins through the left side. That allows Caden Young to score. Tigers go up 2-0. To the bottom of the third, now 3-0 Tigers. Bases loaded for Cedric Martin. He clears them. Grand slam from Martin to right. Fort Scott takes control of the game. They're up 7-0. That's plenty of run support for their starting pitcher, Cody Wilson, and he didn't even really need it. Strikeout here in the second. Then in the fourth, another punch out. Then again in the fifth. Cody Wilson, 5-inning no-hitter tonight, gets 5 strikeouts. To the fifth, 9-0 Fort Scott. Lennox Van puts it into the gap, all the way to the fence. That is a 2-run triple for Van. That's the end of the ball game. Fort Scott beats Field Kinley in their home opener 11-0 in 5 innings. Well, the Division I men's basketball Final Four is tomorrow in Houston. It's Miami and UConn on one side, San Diego State and Florida Atlantic on the other. Now for San Diego State and Florida Atlantic, it's their first ever appearance in the Final Four. And after tomorrow, one of them will have a shot at their first national title.
I said today, this is going to feel like an all-star practice, like your all-star weekend, but this is not all-star weekend. We're playing a meaningful game, and that's the difference. It has that festive feel, but at the same time, we're getting ready to compete on the biggest stage for the biggest title there is in college athletics.
They've had 4 NCAA tournament games. They've had 4 leading scorers, so they're much like looking in the mirror and seeing yourselves, where we never know who our leading scorer is going to be.
Of course, we have UConn in this, but it's cool to see teams like Florida Atlantic and San Diego State get a shot to move on to the national championship. Something different. We always see the blue blood programs, so good luck to those guys.
Yeah, it's always nice to have variety, but I still feel really bad about my bracket.
Yeah, nobody's bracket was good with this Final Four.
It was rough. All righty. Well, thank you, Jacob. We'll be back with more news after this. TikTok could soon be banned, and half of the country wants it to go. A new Pew Research survey shows half of Americans support a government ban on TikTok. Only 22% oppose a ban, and the rest are unsure. As you might imagine, the younger you are, the more likely you are to oppose a ban. That makes sense given how popular the video sharing app is with teens and young adults. People who know about TikTok's connection to China are more likely to support a ban. The survey found that 64% of Americans know a Chinese company owns the app. Netflix games might be coming to TV sets. The company is testing the possibility of expanding its video game service to television for the first time. It would allow subscribers to stream games without downloading them. A Bloomberg News report says Netflix does not have a timeline for when the gaming service will be released. Video game company Electronic Arts is eliminating hundreds of jobs, about 6% of its workforce. Industry researchers say U.S. video game spending declined 5% last year. Electronic Arts is the first major video game publisher to disclose significant layoffs, though the company says it plans to reassign some of the affected employees to other areas. Coming up, how the elementary school students in Virginia are learning about journalism in a fun and hands-on way. Some elementary school kids in West Virginia are learning how to go after the big story. They're starting up the school newscast again after a long pause. Clayton McChesney has the story.
Athens Elementary School has their very own news studio. They got their start in 2018, but just started back again following a break due to COVID. They cover local, national, and world news, and even do sports and weather. These student journalists also do fun segments like Joke of the Week, Interesting Fact, and Kindness Report.
It looks for people that do kind things, and then when I see it, I get a press pass and I go get them and I interview them.
The library and technology specialist at the school guides the students. He says working on the news helps the kids learn and grow.
But I think at first they were a little shy. Actually, I know they were, and they were a little scared. But the more we do it, the more they've come out of their shell, and they have a lot of fun with it.
It really makes you come out of your shell because you're in front of a camera and you're talking to the whole school. So that really helps if you have like social anxiety.
Whether behind or in front of the camera, the kids say they're having fun.
Remember to be kind because you never know when you'll be on the news.
Well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of spider monkeys at the Brookfield Zoo. Be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.